Me, how did unc or auntie culture shaping your life? Like, how did it help you having a good uncle, or even if you had a bad uncle or a good auntie or a bad auntie?
I had a few uncles and aunties who was very active in my life. I feel like now today, aunties and uncles are not as active.
For sure, I disagree.
Speak on that.
I feel like my sisters and my brothers, they are very active in my kids' lives. Same thing with my nieces. If I need somebody to watch them, they're the first person that I call. They are there for every birthday, every recital, every tournament. They pour into them as well. And I just think that that was the standard that was set in my family because that's how my aunties and uncles were for me growing up. And so it's just, we just kind of take that as each one teach one. And it's been very impactful because I have an older daughter, she's 12, and there's certain things where I can talk to her about that, we can relate. But then there's other things where it's just like, hey sis, I need you to go talk to your niece. You know what I mean? Like she just got, she got introduced to womanhood, if you know what I mean. And I was like, where's this attitude coming from? Like, what's happening? Like, I can't handle it. And so I tapped my sister in, and they did a whole thing, like, gave her, the ins and outs of it. And even though we were prepared for it beforehand, it was good for her to have, like, a full ladies' day and having all the women in our family, like, pour into her and kind of let her know what that whole experience was going to be like. So that's my example of, like, auntie and uncle culture is very, very real these days.
Can I ask you, are you the oldest or youngest or middle?
I'm the oldest.
You're the oldest?
I'm the oldest out of everyone.
And so your younger siblings are really involved with your... I love that for you. I'm the oldest, and I thought maybe because I was the oldest, I'm the first to have kids or have a child. My siblings, they're kind of like doing their own thing. They're living their own life. Like they're still building, one's in college, one just graduated, he just got married. So like they're kind of starting their own thing, but I wish they were more involved. Like it kind of bothers me because I'm the oldest and I'm like, I helped raise them. I kind of expected them to be a little bit more involved, but they're not as involved. So I was just curious. I thought maybe if they were older than you, maybe that made a difference. But well, I think my younger sister, she's in college, so I give her grace there, right? Like she's away, she's at Ole Miss, she's not even close. But when she comes home, she'll make it a point to see him, but not necessarily like call or FaceTime or like be involved in that manner. My brother, on the other hand, I feel like because he's the only boy and he got married, he kind of more involved with her family. Not in like a really positive way. Not like he's just not involved with her family because they are, but I feel like they're kind of doing their own thing too. Like they're in Austin and like they might stop through every now and then, but it's not like an intentional, I need to go see my nephew. I need to go see, and they have the same birthday. So I'm like, y'all are like, I literally had a little you. So, but I don't know. Anyways, that's, okay. Oh my gosh, y'all. Well, I would love for them to be more involved. Like I said, I'm the oldest and I helped raise them. So I just kind of would have loved for them to be more involved. But I also understand like that they're creating their lives and their families and working on their things. Yeah. So, I give grace for sure, but I would love them to be more involved for sure. Because when they have kids, best believe I'm gonna be right there. I'm gonna be auntie for real. Like I can't wait. So yeah.
So for you, it's more so the distance than anything.
You said the distance? I think so. I think it is more of a distance thing. I think if they were both here or closer, maybe they would be at least a little more. But also, my brother specifically, like he's building his career right now, and so he's like head first. Like hadn't even started their family yet themselves. So I think that's a big part of it. But yeah. Oh.
Yes. Is this on?
Yeah, I'm on.
I didn't think it was on because there's no light. There's no light on it.
No, it is.
Oh yeah, no light kills the battery, so they don't put lights on that. Well, not just like for you, but just in general. Do you think it's like generational though? Because like how old, like what's the age difference between like you and your younger sibling? Like, is it a big gap or is it?
There is. So me and my brother are 5 years apart, but me and my sister are 13 years apart.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
yes,
And that's where I was going with
can-
it because I think it's generational. Because I mean, I'm 36, so the way I was raised is completely different
Oh,
than the
absolutely.
way, someone in their 20s, 25, 24, 26 was raised. So sometimes I wonder, like, when it comes to, like, the uncle and the auntie culture, does it have to do with the generations, like, how you were raised and the gaps in between the ones who aren't stepping up to the ones that, like, are stepping up? Do you know what I'm
That
saying?
makes sense. Well, that's why I asked him if he was the oldest or youngest, because I feel like if they were, it would make more sense to me if they were older because the way I want to step in when I'm auntie, it would make more sense to me. But to his point, I mean, his younger siblings are stepping in, so maybe that's more of a question for him as far
Yeah,
as
well, I mean, that's my cousin.
the
So,
age difference.
so they're closer in age than what your siblings are. Same with me. So, like, I'm the oldest of six on my mom's side, right? So, I have a brother who's right under me. We're all 2 years apart. But it's funny because I feel like I'm more active in my siblings who do have children in life, than there are with my kids. But it also, for me, I feel like it's also the dynamic of I'm the big brother. And so, like, I've always set the standard. So that's just part of me setting the standard for them as well. Some of my siblings, they're just not social individuals. And then the further down the line, it goes the more distance in age that we are, the more or the less involved they are. So, like, when she asked that question, I was like, okay, I can even see that because, like, my baby brother, Elijah, he's 25. I'm 36. You know what I'm saying? So, like, we grew up in two totally different eras. Like, when he was coming up, they was already out here in Texas. And so, like, a lot of the aunties and uncles who were actively involved in my life were so far away they couldn't be as actively involved in their life. So that wasn't a thing for them. You know what I mean? So
So my sisters are. I got two older sisters. I'm the baby. My sister 10 and 12 years older than me. But like my nephews, like like I'm super active. Like Keith to tell you, like one of my nephews, like I had my son. I had my son early. So one of my nephews is like 2 years older than my son. He 22, my son 20. And then I have a daughter that's 21 too. So like they all kind of like in that same, they in the same range. But like I'm real active. When my sister had her first son, I was 10. But like my sister was in college, so like I used to be babysitting all the time. Like I grew up really raising kids. You know what I'm saying? So like I was real close. But me and my sisters are real like close knit. So even still, like I got a nephew that's at Prairie View. When he have any type of problems, he finna call, like, Unc, I need to holler at you. Like, I need to talk to you. Like we like that. So I can't say that like the age gap is really I can't tell you what it depends on either. I just know like it didn't play a role with me because like I'm just like my nephews is like my sons to me. So them they come get haircuts with me and I like all that type. We did all that type of stuff. I go to football game, go to band performances, go to like all of that. My nephew was in the this is his first year not being in the band at Prairie View, but last year he was at the band. I ain't never like going to the game. That ain't never really just been my thing. But I went to the game just to see my nephew because my nephew performing in the band, and that's a big, you know what I'm saying? That's a big thing. He had he was like in a play like a couple years ago. I went to the play premiere, so like I just show up for my nephews. That's just like they just like an extension of me. So like when I look at them, so I can't say that the age gap is really just a big thing.
So for me, the age gap is a big thing. Me and my siblings, the oldest are 15, 13, and 11 years apart. And so my first nephew was born when I was in the 5th grade. And so being so young, growing up with them and experiencing the whole babysitting thing, for me being a girl, it was cool until it wasn't, because now I'm a teenager and I want to move around, and there's this expectation for me to watch your kids. I don't have none. I shouldn't have to do that. Even throughout my college career, still being very present and participating in the discipline process, with the age gap, what I felt was appropriate for children and what they felt was appropriate for children was very different. And so you call me and you're saying this is what's happening, and I'm like, okay, well, this should be the punishment or consequence in my opinion. And you're like, well, I don't want to do that. Well, why are you calling me? I can't auntie like this. Like, if you're calling me to be the auntie, you gotta help me out here, right? And so going through all of that and then having my own kids, it did create more of a distance, because now it's like, okay, I'm trying to figure out my life and what this looks like. And me and one of my sisters actually have a child a year apart. So I had a baby, she had a baby, I had a baby. And so even in that dynamic, and my nephews more so, I was like the first one to go to college, so my mindset was just a little different. And so with my nephews, what do we have to relate about when you weren't pushed to go to college? I've watched your moms stand on my neck for me to accomplish something, but y'all weren't putting under that same level of pressure. Well, one of them. Like, I'm already a great aunt. How do I show up and support you when I don't know what we have in common? Because I was like, no, we got to hustle. We got to get you. I was fresh out of high school. Like, okay, what's next? With them being boys especially, it's like, how do I show up for you as your aunt in this space without making you feel a way as a man because I don't feel like you handled your business? And I want to support you and I want to love you and I want to show up for you, but I don't agree with any of the choices. And that kind of only goes for one. The other one's in the military now and he's thriving. He's doing a great job. Shout out to him. But even still, just the way he navigates sometimes, it makes me really worried. And with me being a boy mom, I navigate it very intentionally because I don't want to be so afraid for the decisions that he may make that I let that impact how I parent my sons too. So just trying to figure out how to show up, but then even to where aunties and uncles for my sons look different because we're in Texas and our whole family's in California. Mm-hmm. My kids know aunties and uncles as Markeith, my friends.
Right.
Like my siblings, they doing their thing. They grown, they're older. And so it's a very interesting field to navigate. But I think what's most important is that like you live in the culture of an auntie or an uncle can just be the people who show up and support you. Like it's fine. Like it doesn't have to be like a true sibling. If it is, that's really truly a blessing. But if it isn't, as long as there are other people who align with your ideals of parenthood, then that's what's of most importance. And we just kind of make the best out of it.
Okay. Because I don't have anything that deep. I was just going to say, I don't. I was like, because for me, I have, my brother and I were raised in the same home. And then I have an older sister, 7 years older. My brother and I are 2 years apart. And so I've been an auntie technically since I was 10 also. But she was 3 hours away. She was also a young mom. So I just like being called auntie, but I didn't see them. So I wasn't active until my brother really started having his children 4 years ago. And then I've been a very active auntie. I love that. That's my favorite thing. I'm auntie to, like you said, Markeith and Desiree's kids, to my friends' kids. And so I don't think I was a great auntie or active. My sister and I didn't really communicate that much back then, being raised in different homes. And so most of my aunts, too, were family friends. My mom wasn't close to her siblings. So, like, when it comes to my mom's side, the people we call auntie or uncle are, like, best friends. And then my dad's side has a huge group. The question I wanted to ask is, bringing it back, what's the difference that you guys are seeing between the aunties and uncles you guys had and how we're showing up now? Because I do feel like I'm really active, and I try to go to everything that I can. And so where are you guys talking about like it's different now?
So ironically, what I was going to say touches on that, in that I'm 30 years into the unk game. Like my oldest nephew is 32 years old. Yeah, my oldest nephew. Right. 32 years old, right? Right. So, no, there's no problem with that because it's interesting hearing these stories because there's some like similarities. I'm gonna make some assumptions here. Age gap probably also mean different parentals, right? So that's a challenge in this whole situation about bringing family together because there's like multiple levels, right? I come from a family of 4 siblings, me being the youngest, and all of my aunts and uncles literally live probably within a 5-mile radius. I hear a lot of transports, right? Meaning I'm hours, and so I think we start living differently, right? Largely because degree, access to opportunity, and then some of that ended up in Dallas. Raise your hand if you're from Dallas. Right? It is a room full of imports. So being that it's a room full of imports, for you to have relationship with aunts and uncles, you also have to have proximity.
Yep.
Right? So that's the thing that I think is very much different just hearing all these stories is I was so close to my uncles and aunts. I would end up being at their house on a weekend by accident. Like I just happened to be on Friday, and next thing you know, I asked if I could stay the night, and then I asked if I could stay the night again on Saturday, and then I was there till 8 o'clock on Sunday. So all that time to build that relationship was present. But then I am the kid who graduated college and never went back home.
Yeah.
Right? And now, and when I moved to Dallas, one of my biggest efforts was to get my family close. So I didn't move my sisters in Austin, my brothers in Dallas, my other sisters in Dallas. My mother lives with me. So all of my immediate family, because the only way for me to replicate what I had was to have proximity, right?
Yeah.
And so I think of the way we live today, some of our success also becomes a shortcoming. Some of our success, our ability to move around the world, not be in close proximity to the people, and probably run away from some of the trauma shit that come along with being close to family, right? And I'm sure everybody in here got a story like, yeah, I'm glad I ain't got to deal with that part of us. But I think for us to have those gains, we kind of got to get back to staying in community, like being proactive and staying close to each other for us to have those familial relationships. If they don't want that, and I don't, there's one of my sisters see my children when she want to, and no other time in between. They stay to themselves, and that's okay. Right? They still auntie, I mean, she just did whole keratin treatment on the hair. I'm so glad. Thank you, God. Because you know how much those things cost, and I got the discount. Right? So she show up how she show up. My other siblings, though, are like, send me the YMCA side schedule for the flag football games, and I'm going to be at every one of them. So I think we got to give some grace for people to do what they got to do. But if you truly want that, if you truly want what we used to have back then, we got to start making more calculated decisions about where we going after we've achieved success.
One quick note to the age gap. you go first on this one. But one quick note to the age gap. I feel like even when you are close in age, it is important to still be there. So a little trigger warning. When my nephew, so similar to like you said and somebody else said, my nephew was born when I was 8 years old, my first nephew. So he is the closest thing I had to a little brother. Well, in the height of my career, like him, left home, I rarely go back. He died of a massive heart attack at 21. And the only thing I could think about for like the full year was I was the closest thing he had to a big brother. And I hadn't talked to him in over a year because I was chasing my career. And I thought about, even though, you know, aunt culture, like we said, and auntie culture can be, hey, you older, and it can be that example. That was different for us. You get what I'm saying? And I did have to learn to forgive myself. But it made me think once again to like his little brother and his little sister and to my other nieces and nephews. Like he said, make the effort. You get what I'm saying? So I make sure to now have that conversation of, hey, bring them out here to Texas. And you know, my people from Mississippi, so I be like, they ain't got nothing to do out there anyway. You know what I'm saying? Bring them out here. We got Six Flags. We got stadiums across the street from stadiums. They ain't even seen a stadium across the street from stadium. You get what I'm saying? Bring them kids out here and let them do something. You know what I'm saying? I was telling my wife, like, listen, when we get this house, let's make sure we get room, even if the adults don't come, let them kids come. You get what I'm saying? Like, and I didn't have that as an uncle, but it inspires me to want to be like that. And so I just wanted to say that on that. Now, same energy, thank y'all. Our next question is, do men hold other men accountable? And Stephen, once again, I want you to go first, and then
Go ahead, Stephen.
do men hold other men accountable?
The answer is no.
The answer is no. The answer is no. The answer is no.
That's 10 yards, bro. That's 990, dog. That was not.
I feel like the real answer to that question is really contingent on your emotional maturity. And what I mean by that is, listen, I've lived multiple different lives. So you want to talk about F-boy status, like living it out to the fullest. The people that were around me were living that same life. And so accountability was, hey, you going through something? It's okay. Let's just go out and party. Let's go ahead and drink. Go ahead and run through a couple. You know what I'm saying? Have your phase, and then you're good. And that's just real. I'm really being honest. And I think as I started going to therapy and I got out of situations where I was just like, I gotta grow up because this is dumb. Where I was leading in my life led me to self-sabotage and lose things that I've gained. And so as I've matured, my accountability is way different. Gave my life to the Lord, rededicated my life, and I actually have like real accountability where I meet with my actual accountability every Thursday. Every Thursday we check in, and I think what accountability is like true accountability is first acknowledging where you're lacking or where you're weak at. After you acknowledge that, then it's time to set a plan and like an action plan where it's actually feasible for you to achieve that goal. And then after that, it's about really like being real with that plan. And all of my partners, my group that I have about maybe 6 guys that no matter what, if it's 3 o'clock in the morning, they're gonna pick up. And they're not gonna tell me what I wanna hear, they're gonna tell me what I need. And it always brings me back to the basics and understanding that I have so much more to lose now because of how much that I've gained over the years of me maturing. So I think we do, but it depends on your emotional maturity.
Accountability, I feel like, me personally, I hold myself accountable first before I hold somebody else accountable. And this is something that I'm working on, and mainly because of me joining this group, I'm focusing on this more and more because as I've gotten older, I've stopped holding some of the people that I have grown up with accountable. I've just cut them off. It's crazy, but I have, because I'm like, I don't have time. I got too much going on in my life, and I got to keep holding myself accountable. I don't have time to hold somebody up who is my age and doing dumb shit. It is what it is. I grew up with them. I've told them once or twice, maybe 10 years ago, nothing's changed. And now I'm like, I don't have the time. So you know how the whole famous saying, my circle's small? It was small for a very long time until I started, connecting with Mark Keith, and I've been, doing the Good Dad Tribe, and this topic was talked about before, and it has really hit me because I'm like, you know what, I can't keep holding myself accountable if I'm not also helping my tribe be accountable too. So, and like I think Jay Nick, you said it best. I'm trying to work on grace as well, because there was a time when I just don't take. If somebody's trying to hold me accountable, I would not listen to them because I would judge them based on what they have achieved in life. You know what I mean? And it's natural, right? So you're not gonna take an advice from a homeless person. You're just gonna be like, whatever, dude. But that's what Jay Nick said. He said, hey, he's working on that, and that hit me too. Where I was like, you know what? That homeless person got some advice that I've never heard before, because he's there for a reason, and you know what I mean? So,
do men hold men accountable? No, right? But it's a lot of caveats to it. No, we don't. No, we don't. But it's like, as a man, I'm not going to share those aspects of my life in a lot of the cases, right? As a man, I know what I can bring to Markeith. I know, as him being my frat brother, him being my real brother, him saying, okay, I know how he live. Okay, he know me, I know him, but he know what he can bring to me, and I know what I can bring to him. At a certain level, it's going to be obviously a level of respect, because we know each other, we love each other. But he knows what I'm going to accept, and he knows what. So I know, Markeith, he ain't that dude. I know his pops, I know his moms. It's about church. I can't take that over there. That's not even about that. So I'm not going to put myself in a situation as a man to bring that to his front door. In a lot of cases, and that's self-accountability on my end. Same to what my man was saying over there. It's knowing who your circle is knowing who you are as a person, and saying, that man has a family. If I'm gonna do what I'm going to do in the dark, I'm gonna do it in the dark by myself. Or if not, I'm gonna go to a person who's going to accept that behavior, and I'm gonna go hang out with them on that side. And that's the self-accountability on your end. So do we hold ourselves accountable? No, because in most cases, we don't open that door as men. As men, we keep it very much to what this is right here, because I love this right here. This is sports, right? So we can keep it here and not mention anything personal. I can go on a trip with every guy in here, and every guy in here may not know my kid's name. And it can be that type of relationship as men. It's different for women. So when it comes to that, no, we don't hold each other accountable, because I don't bring that to Markeith's door. I don't bring that to any other person's door, because that's me as a man. And I'm going to live in that, I'm going to sit in that. And I have to, society-wise, I have to as a man. So it's nothing different than anything else I have to deal with. I keep it here, and it keeps things where it needs to be in a lot of cases. So no, we don't hold each other accountable, because we don't share that aspect of our life with each other enough for it to be held accountable.
But can I have?
Go ahead, Nandy. I want Nandy go, then I want those ladies.
He done counted some.
He summed it up. Okay, we're
Can I
gonna let
ask
her
a
go.
question?
No, let the
Can
ladies go, and then we'll get you to go.
Go ahead. Wait, I guess I just wanted to ask a question for my men. What exactly does accountability look like? Like, I feel like as women, we have a different viewpoint of what accountability looks like. So I'm asking y'all, what does that actually look like for you?
When your partner tell you, hey, it looks like when you go say something to your partner and you looking for an answer, and nigga say no, nah, and you keep trying to reiterate and give him more, and he say, nah, bro, you fucking wrong. That's what it looks like. That's how men speak. Like, if you bring up a topic and you feel like one of your strong brothers who always gonna tell you when you wrong and when you right, they gonna break it down to you, and they just gonna say, listen, because we always want to find the right answer for ourselves.
Can I chime in a little bit? Wait. I don't know if I like that. But you here. Because I don't know if I like that. Go ahead. Okay. From the outside looking in, no, to me, men do not hold each other accountable because they don't hold themselves accountable. So it's like you're gonna always go to somebody that's not gonna hold you accountable. I'm gonna go talk to my homeboy who I know is not gonna tell me I'm wrong, instead of going to the homeboy who I know that probably would tell me that I'm wrong. So I don't feel like men hold each other accountable anyway, because they want to tell you what they want to hear. So if you don't hold yourself accountable, he not gonna hold you accountable either. So it's just exactly.
No. First of all, I appreciate what you just asked, and I appreciate how you did. So I'm just gonna kind of piggyback. I initially wanted to say that nobody knows a language until they know it. So again, if you don't know the language prior to, how do you even question yourself? Either one. So for me personally, I think it's a deeper question: is how do you ask to be held accountable when you don't even know what accountability looks like from initially? So number one, I do not disagree with anybody's opinion because opinions are warranted, opinions are fair. I do think men they hold themselves accountable predicated on the caliber of men that you hang around. This boy right here, this guy right here has been my buddy for over 18 years. Not only is he my buddy and like my family, but he works for me, as you clearly see. I have 4 small businesses and he works in 3 of them with me. So again, he knows that he gonna come to me and ask me a question. I'm gonna tell him straight up organically. But at the same time, accountability is shit if you don't hold yourself accountable. Because again, how do you do that? So for me personally, I agree with everybody's opinions that they're said. But when you say holding people accountable, and then when you say, and again, to pick off what my guy said, we don't live by no damn bro code no more. At least how I move, because bro code it aligns with holding somebody accountable. And again, if it's something that doesn't align with bro code, then it ain't none of my business. Simple as that. So if I got a homie that got a wife and he cheating on it, it ain't none of my fucking business. Simple as that. So for me personally, so again, bro code has taken a different alignment in this day and time. So again, I definitely hold people accountable as I hold myself accountable. So again, that questioning is deeper than what I feel like it should have been dissected a little bit more, but I appreciate the question. That's the only one I'm gonna touch on.
Yeah, I caught that. But that's kind of
It's been my business. It's not. Hey.
Okay. Mine gonna be short. Mine gonna be really short. So I want to, though I agree with my husband, I also, because I've had a chance to watch him on the back end, I think that there is a certain level of accountability that men hold each other to. Watching him with his circle one, men are very solution oriented. So they're gonna be in their heads until they can figure out the solution to be able to talk about whatever they need to talk about. And I think with that, once you can figure out the words in your head and you're able to say it to someone who is a safe space, that's when accountability can truly take form. Just as easy as he can say, like, no, men don't really hold each other accountable. Like, I know that he has men in his life that have played a part in making sure that we have a great marriage. So accountability looks different, like you said, as you mature, but the alignments, like what are we doing? What are we talking about? Who are we hanging around? What kind of decisions are we making? Broke niggas not able to hang out with niggas that's successful because you're making the wrong kind of choices. So there's a certain level of accountability there. That's why men are able to navigate in circles where they can be in a healthy competition of success, because it's like, I see you, I see what you're doing, I see how this working out for you. I can get there until I reach that maturity level to say, like, oh, bro, I think you're doing the wrong thing or whatever, because you're watching just an example of greatness and you kind of follow that, and that's how you start to develop the level of accountability. So while there's a lot of pieces where maybe there isn't, I think that there are also some pieces where there is. And of course, that comes with being around a certain group of men too. But
A lot of self-accountable men.
Then we got a question that's similar to this question, and I want to hear from some people we ain't heard from.
I love your response, by the way, brother. Like, it is just like that. It is most men are so. It's weird to talk about that in this group of men, because you literally looking at it like the defensiveness that you hear in some of our responses is because you're in amongst a group of men who literally seek out accountability. Like, these are men who every 2 weeks get on an accountability call, right? So it's you're going to hear some defensiveness in here. But the truth of the matter is what he said. All our relationships ain't got to be bone deep. They just don't. I've been on bachelor parties out of town with dudes that I did not know until I found out about the bachelor party.
Hey, lying.
Right? But there are certain people. Yeah, it don't matter. I just met John. But we don't have those. So our relationships are very compartmentalized. I think y'all have different relationship styles that don't necessarily align. Like if someone said if my buddy's a cheater and he knows I ain't about down for cheating, this is how you gonna cheat. All right, man. I'll catch you later.
Yep.
I'll catch you later. Cause he know I ain't about that life, and he ain't gonna bring me down this dark alley with him and make me accountable. I want to be able to look at your old lady and say, "Oh, I did not know either." Right? Now I know who he may be. I know but I don't know any of those crimes. So that's kind of how it is. We just form relationships. I think my question would be, how would you want us to hold a brother accountable for the decisions that man himself is making? Like, what does it look like if I was to say this brother right here isn't necessarily doing right by his children, right? I'm probably gonna say something to him, right, about it, and then he probably gonna fade out my circle. But what would you want me to do instead to hold him accountable?
Wait. Even to that, because that same question, I'm gonna develop the question a little further. You may fade out your circle. He may sock you in the chin for bringing up his kids, depending on where he is in his life, because he's a man at the end of the day. Depending on where that man is at that point in his life, and that you may have to deal with that. And again, are you willing to deal with that, bringing that topic up today? Are you? I'm not. I want to go home with my chin intact, fine with my wife, and go home and go to sleep. I want to piss him off today and bring up. I know he has things going on with his kids. I want to touch that topic today. That's something that you may have to deal with, though. You may making that decision to bring it up is a repercussion. That's something you have to navigate to. You have to consider. There's a certain level of violence. There's a certain level of anything that may happen after this question is over. There you go.
I just had a question because I just want to understand. Just hearing y'all's different perspectives on accountability, I guess my question would be, because y'all's friendships are so much different than our friendships.
Yes.
Yeah. So I have a question. When you bring up things like, I wish Chef was in here. Is he still in here? Okay. Okay. I guess. No, I just have a question. My question is the goal of like the friendship or the bro code to make each man better when it comes to what's right, or is it to keep the peace? Because I feel like a lot of these answers are trying to keep the peace when you talk about bro code, but I believe.
It depends. No. It depends. It depends on the individual. It depends on the individual.
And to your point, you're saying that he might sock you on the chin, but then is that really are y'all really that close then? If you can't bring something that serious up, but you're not, then you're not holding, why would you hold? Usually accountability comes from someone you're close to, like someone that you're looking for accountability from. So you're not going to bring it up to someone that you think might sock you in the chin or or retaliate in the way that you're saying. That's not someone you're looking for accountability from, or that you're looking to give accountability to, because they didn't come from that. Yes. Yeah, that's what she's asking. What is the severity of, like, what's the level of relationships? That's what she's asking, because
I think Keith or you might be really good at answering this question, but as she was saying, like, for people that you actually care about their opinions, we're not talking about just niggas you going to Miami with. We're talking about people who you actually care about their opinion and you actually care about keeping yourself accountable to them. My question, he didn't get to hear it, but my question was, are you trying to essentially keep the peace? Is that the goal of the friendship? Or is the goal and accountability to actually make each other better and do what's right?
I think you have to flag before you say anything right quick. Who has the mic? The other mic? Someone give him a mic first. Thank you. I can't because I want to be able to hear it.
So I want you to answer. Then I'm gonna ask her. So I'm gonna ask her. Hold on. So we got two questions to answer that I want to get rapid fire answers out of it. So first, I want you to respond to her question, but then I want 2-sentence answers from at least 4 of the ladies on what do y'all want Accountability look like from men to men. Then we go ask y'all the next question.
Okay, so Chef first. You asked that question. Hold on, wait, time up. Chef first, then we going.
I'll talk to you.
Chef first.
Okay, so Chef,
right on set.
Yeah.
Then we'll do the 4 ladies questions and we'll go ahead. So go ahead, Chef.
So are we seeking peace or accountability? First of all, I just think I'm a big dissector. I think you understand that you got to compartmentalize the two. So for me personally, there is no accountability without peace. Or they coincide with each other. So for cohesively, they have to work. So for me personally, I've attained a sense of peace in my life at 36 years old now that you cannot put a price tag on. So for me personally, everybody that's in my life is conducive to the lifestyle that I've worked fucking hard to build. So, excuse my language if I'm not supposed to cuss on here. I'm just so peace will come with the accountability of with the people that I hang out with. And the thing about it is, though, for me personally, and the reason why I say compartmentalize is because, again, I don't seek validation from humanity from a sense because I've got a good grace of God. And he just give me something that I ain't never felt before. So for me personally, that's just kind of to sum it up because I'm going to give you the rapid answers. I know you're trying to get to that, bro. So, yeah, that's just kind of just a microwavable answer that I have for you, though.
Okay, so 2-sentence answer. What do you want accountability to look like man to man? Then you. What do you want accountability to look like man to man? I want to get y'all's too. What do y'all want accountability to look like? No, I think you really need hers. She's the one. I don't like it. She don't like the answer. Well,
hey man, watch out.
Give me 2 sentences and unleash the crowd. Okay.
You want to go first?
Go ahead.
Okay, to me, I would say kind of like how us as females do it. Like, we hold each other accountable. We hold ourselves accountable. So it's just holding each other accountable. If I'm about to go talk to my friend, that is, you don't think so?
I don't. I want to say yes. I would want to say yes, but that part ain't true. I'm going to let you finish your thought.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, listen, when you go, then we'll flip
I'll say this real quick. If that's the case, I would want to be in your group of friends. I want to say that. No, you probably do, but we gonna finish your answer. Finish it. Finish your answer.
Okay, I don't know about y'all. I do. I hold my friends accountable and I hold myself accountable. So I just want everybody to hold their
Example of the way you hold your friends.
Okay. Okay, so example like what? How me holding my friends accountable?
What it look like. That's what they're at.
Okay. Well, now that you said that, it kind of, I don't know. It's kind of like I do and then I don't. Now that you done said that, because now that I'm thinking about some stuff, it kind of, because when you're a friend and then a friend comes to you about something, sometimes I do hold her accountable, but sometimes it just depends. So now that you done said that, it makes sense. Yes, because sometimes they get mad when you tell them the truth. So
that situation is not like your situation. You really ain't got no ground to stand on because they're gonna be like, "Oh, you can't say that because your life is what you."
Exactly, you're absolutely.
A little different for us.
Okay, y'all right.
Okay, look, no, okay.
She said, yeah, they know. All right. So what's the All right. I want her to go. All right. All right. But before you go, I'm glad you said that, because why? You know Lakeisha be in my DMs and you and her know I'm married. Oh, wow. Lakeisha be sending you pictures talking about, girl, you so fine. You ain't told her to stop.
I don't know who Lakeisha is, but okay, but listen. So I think that accountability, in my opinion, my version of what accountability looks like is solution based. So if there's no solution, there's no answer to the problem that's at hand, then to me, it's not accountability. So if one of my homegirls is married and she doing what she do and it's another man and I'm there,
That's a no for me. That's a baby girl. Come here. We're gonna sit down. We're gonna have a private talk. Where you at? Where you at mentally? What's going on? How can I help you as a friend? How can I support you in this? Because when you're with me, this is unacceptable because you are a reflection of me and I am a reflection of you. So if I am a reflection of my father, you can't put me in those situations like that. You know what I'm saying? So the bottom line, I think, is like if there's no solution, there's no conversation that is had with that significant other or friend or whoever it is, I don't feel like that's not holding them accountable. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to sit down with that person and say, hey, what you did was wrong. That's not right. You know what I'm saying? And as your friend, as your sister, whatever the situation is, I'm here to help you. So what do we have to do? Do we have to keep you out of these? Huh? No, but listen, it's do we have to keep you out of that environment until you are more mature, if your spirit is more developed so that you're not now doing those things. So there's solutions. Now, am I saying that's going to solve the problem? No, that's not going to solve the problem. But you can never say B didn't hold you accountable because I set you down and I told you that this is what it is. You can't hang out with me if you're doing that. So if you're going to continue to do it, fall off, baby girl. You can't be here.
Chances of her being your friend is gonna be slim to none. She ain't about to be your friend no more.
But listen, if that person has and I've learned this from actual like example. My best friend of literally from middle school all the way up until I was about 30 did some real foul stuff. I had to tell her, hey, A plus B plus C, she stopped being my friend. I said, hey, that's cool. I said, because at the end of the day, if I'm really your friend, I'm supposed to help you get better. I'm supposed to set the example. So I'm not going to set the example as excusing your behavior because society says keep the peace or society says don't rumble. You know, if you're feeling froggy, don't jump, whatever the situation is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not keeping the peace. Because the same way I'm holding you accountable, if my life is in shambles and you're my sis and you're praying for me and you say you got my back, you should be having that same conversation with me, whether I get upset or not. You get what I'm saying? So that's where I feel the difference comes into play with men and women and accountability. Women are not afraid to say, well, I can't speak for all women. My women, my girls in my circle are not afraid to say, hey, B, what you did was wrong. And like, because I know you want to grow and I know that you're in a place of development, let me help you out. And I'm not in the place to be like, I don't want to hear it. You know what? You're right, sis. Let's sit down. Let's talk about it. Let's see how we can help my situation. That's what I feel like accountability is. And that's how I want to end it.
All over the place with my thoughts. I'm a Gemini and I just be all over the place. No, because not for me. It's just that I just wanted to say the chances of men being friends after certain situations is greater than women still being friends after certain situations. And I'm just like, dang, and it goes back to accountability. Luckily, you have those friends, and if we would be able to if we're the type to hold each other accountable, I want to be a part of your friend group. I don't have female friends because I am the one to be like, I'm gonna speak my mind, baby. I ain't like that, and I'm also open to receiving certain levels of criticism too. I'm open to it. But they be scared of me. So I'm like, okay, I'll let me join this group. But that's what I want to say. Oftentimes, the chances of men still being friends is greater, and the women is and it's because of accountability. I know we want to say we hold each other accountable, but sometimes we are afraid because why? We want to keep the peace. Yeah. And that ain't always okay. You gonna have to. I agree with you. Tell me your name one more time. Bree. You be cutting to people. I can see. We need to be more like that. Like I am that way too. And I'm the one who stirs the pot. If you're wrong, you're wrong. If you're right, you're right. But yeah, I'm about to start cooking.
Stories, right? Like we be in the crib listening you talk about Ashley and her man.
Right? And we know that you ain't said shit to Ashley.
But it goes back. But let me keep this mic. But look, he is.
And hold tight.
But wait, it's to keep the peace.
No. It's not because you ain't keeping it. It's because we all know Ashley. Right? I know Ashley through you, and you done told me for 6 years this who Ashley is.
She ain't my friend. I ain't
right?
know Ashley.
And she's still around. Like, we got some homies like that, too. I done told this dude, he probably keep me out of proximity of the things he do that I'm not okay with. I guarantee you that woman that you held accountable, she ain't stopped doing that shit. She just made sure you didn't see it no more. Right?
That's real.
So I don't put my friends in that position. Keep me out your stuff. Right? And it's not that we don't have deep relationships. Like I have some very, very fervent and deep relationships with brothers. But even them dudes, there's some things that I don't need to discuss with y'all. I don't even want you in my business like that. I'm not going to. Let me think about that. I wonder why y'all have such intense depth about those kind of things. Like, why does a relationship have to go to that level of depth with every person? Okay, it doesn't. Yeah. So if it isn't, if there isn't, who the hell am I holding accountable then? And what you want me to do? Like, who am I holding accountable, brother-wise, in that sense? Like, it might be two brothers in that we have relationships with to that level of depth. Everything else is different. It's like it's hoop, it's work, it's because we like the Ravens. Like it's not that high level.
They don't know that though, but we gonna get to that. Cause they don't know that. To kind of help y'all, when Charles went to go do what he did, I didn't know. Okay, y'all be thinking we know everything about each other, huh? Oh. Women, certainly, long list of adjectives. That's how y'all be. What happened to Charles? I don't know. I might have found out when you found out.
Because Charles was with you when he did it.
Charles wasn't with me when he did it. Charles told you we was playing ball together. Charles came and played for 45 minutes, not 2 hours. That's what you forgot to ask. So sometimes y'all don't ask enough questions or the right questions. And then y'all blame us. Charles did come play ball. That's all you ask. Okay, yeah, right. I thought Charles went home. Okay, next question. Next question. Now, I want a couple ladies to answer this first. So, Dina, come over here. You two, you come over here, because I want y'all three. Because I want y'all three to answer this first, because we ain't heard as much from y'all. Erica's going to go first. You go next, and then Dina. Sit down. Sit down. Because we want to hear from the ladies on this one right here, okay? We want to hear from the ladies. Okay. Now, do women hold men accountable with grace or with guilt? Here you go, Erica.
Personal relationships with men?
You can give me both. At the aggregate. Overall, maybe not you directly, but overall.
I think it's a mixture. I think it depends on the proximity of the relationship. I think if we're closer to the man, then we'll give them more grace. I think that if we're further away, then there's more guilt. Like if it's a personal relationship to us, like say for instance, it's a brother, a cousin, we're not gonna guilt them. We're gonna give them grace. And it's funny because we'll expect certain things out of our relationships, but we don't hold the men in our lives with the same accountability that we would have our homegirls, expect our homegirls man to have to her. Like there are a lot of women who don't hold, like if they had a sibling or a brother, cousin, moms, all of them, they will literally watch him bring people, turn their head and act like they didn't see it or know it. But if it's your homegirl and you see her dude doing it, you're gonna hold him to a completely different standard than you would hold the other men in your life. So I think that it's just, I don't know what the psychology is behind that, but I do think that women, we don't. And I have to just say this, because we've been talking a lot about what do we expect for men as far as like our men's accountability. I have to say this, women do not hold women accountable either. And I don't think this has anything to do with a gender thing. I think this is just a human nature thing. I don't think it has anything other than, nobody wants to stir the pot. And you're only gonna hold people accountable that you have that rapport with. And it really, that might only be one or two people in your life. Like we have to be honest, I'm not holding all my friends to that level of depth. And I'm not pulling people aside and telling them what you did is wrong. You know it's wrong. And I don't have to be that person to tell you every time. Now, the level of our relationship, does that change? Yes. But I don't have to be the one to police you. And I think that we just have to be honest. I don't think that everybody is being like actually internally reflecting, like, what are your relationships really like? Like, we are not holding our homegirls accountable either.
Now we have them mostly.
No. Yeah. And I believe like the men that you guys are holding accountable, you have that rapport with to hold them to that level of accountability. And for the friends that we hold to that level of accountability, it's because we have that rapport. But that does not mean that's the whole crew. That could be 2 people out of your 10 friends that you hang out with every weekend. That doesn't mean it's everyone. And it doesn't mean, and I'm not gonna receive that information from everyone either. Like, I'm not gonna want somebody to pull me aside who doesn't know the depth of the relationship that I have with that person. So why would I feel that I am privy to give that level of advice to someone else? Because it's deeper than that. And it's not as trivial as like, oh, you're wrong. I don't know what's going on in that home. I don't know why she's doing what she's doing. And I don't know what she's seen and what's her example of why that's normal for her. So for me to judge a friend and say like, oh, she's cheating on her husband, I don't know why she's cheating on her husband. Yeah, it's wrong. It's wrong. But am I going to dispose my friend because I don't know what the trauma is behind that? You're going to break up a whole family? You have a house, like that's just, and this is a real life, these are real situations that I've experienced with my friends. And so that's why I'm like, until you're in those situations, and I just, like I said, I do give grace to people because I understand there's depth to people's circumstances and we don't know why, and you don't know when you might be in that situation. And I would hope somebody would give me some grace. So, that's my spiel.
Say a mixture. My first immediate reaction was guilt. But I think I don't give myself enough credit. I do think we give a lot of grace in general, women, because when I'm thinking about grace, I'm thinking about staying in scenarios longer than I should because I'm like trying to keep giving you grace, like this time, maybe this time. I also think when I'm in this grace moment, I'm not very vocal though. Like maybe it could be taken better and I could receive this grace and improvement if I was more vocal and like letting them know, but I kind of get into modes where I want them to read my mind, or I feel like I'm being so obvious that like you should be doing the grace. And so then I get fed up, so I'm gonna make you feel guilty. But I don't know if I did everything I was supposed to do in that grace moment. So that's why my immediate reaction is guilt, because when I enter into that, I feel like I do it pretty well. And that's when I do make it obvious. And then like maybe I should have done that same level. And when giving grace and like having an understanding, but now I'm short-tempered. I'm just saying like one word to you. I'm having a funky attitude. It's very obvious. And so I think I end up doing more guilt, but I think it's just because I'm not doing the right thing during grace.
Maybe you were giving grace and you weren't being heard. So now I'm like, now I gotta guilt trip you because now I'm angry. Now you gonna feel it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
But was you silent? No. Before?
I wasn't. I was very vocal. And you didn't hear me. You weren't receptive. And now I'm about to, it's another moment. Now I'm about to.
I think that there is, and I'm going to say it just how I have to say it, so y'all bear with me. I know it might ruffle a couple of feathers. Let me sit this down. I think that, and I'll just speak on my experience. One, as a Black woman and not being a light-skinned Black woman, when we say things, it's not always heard because you're anticipating this aggression, right? And so I think there's a fine line between giving grace and just completely dismissing my feelings to cater to yours. Because me showing up for you and giving you grace allows you to be comfortable. But I'm still not being heard. And then when I start fussing, crash out. Now it's like, why you acting like that? Well, I said it nicely 10 times. Why do I have to say it nicely 14 times to be like, at that point, it starts to feel like disrespect. And it becomes a matter of, do I pick the well-being of your emotions and feelings or mine? Because I'm here to protect yours, but who protected mine? Hello. Can I get personal? Okay, so for us, right? We had a baby in a time, I was fresh out of college. He was in the thick of his career. I had that baby on Saturday. He had to go to work on Sunday. I still continued to show up, and I was becoming angry, and I did not understand why. I was mad because you left me at the hospital, even though you did what you needed to do for our family, and we reaped the benefits of that today. Then I was going through showing up every day, trying to protect your feelings because I didn't know how to express that you had hurt mine in my most vulnerable state, and I was still expected to protect you and everything you stood for. I didn't know how to vocalize that because as women, we're just taught, give grace, give grace, give grace, be cool, be calm. How do I calmly say that you hurt my feelings when I don't even know how to articulate what I'm even experiencing right now? And so we give as much grace as we know to give with still honoring what our true feelings are. You're not going to always like it, and we have to learn and grow how to be able to effectively communicate. Like, this my ace boon coon. Like, he literally does no wrong. And even if he did wrong, shit, I'm right behind you. Come on, we gonna be wrong. But it sucks when you're that person and I want to protect you so much, but I still have to express how you hurt me in a nice way to where it don't hurt you. That's funky. Yes.
I want y'all to give male perspectives before we flip it.
Yeah, quick question though. In that moment, do you felt as if you told him, like, I need you not to go to work? Because, like, is it wrong for us to assume that in that moment he should be making sure that you're okay instead of going and getting the money?
I would have never asked him to do that because I wasn't his wife yet. And he didn't owe that to me because I was not his wife yet. He owed that to him to handle his business. Now, when we had that second baby and we was married, you bet not leave. No. But I didn't know better to even... I didn't know that.
Yeah, because I've heard similar situations even with
and
my
at the end
parents.
of the day, you doing what's best for our family. I'm having this baby. I don't have no money. So
yeah,
I'm going to support you 100% regardless of what that means. I'm going to support you 100% regardless of what that means for me. And it took time for me to understand that that's what was truly bothering me. For me, I'm like, shit, we just had this healthy baby. Cool. We rocking and rolling. But my insides, my spirit don't feel right. And I was not his wife, so I would have never, ever, ever asked him to make that sacrifice for me being his girlfriend.
You're not his wife, but
I wasn't then.
But you had the baby. You had a baby. You put your life on the line to have a child. So let's not
100%.
do that.
No, and I agree 100%. I 100% agree. However, I grew up watching my siblings, and I just grew up watching single moms, and I just didn't ever want a nigga to feel like he had to be with me. You don't have to do nothing. Show up the way you want to show up. And that's what's going to speak for itself. And
true.
If I got to ask you, then
Because
I'm asking too much.
We don't like to ask.
Yeah, I can't be a daddy for him.
No.
He had to show up as a father in his own right. And so I was fine. I thought I was fine with letting it be whatever it was going to be.
Okay, so but my thing is like even with me and Desiree, when we first started dating, right? She would say things. I bet you remember when I crossed cap outside. We used to. No. It's not. It's nothing bad. So when I first crossed my fraternity, we used to go to different parties to promote our party or whatever event we had going on. And I distinctly remember asking her, "Do you want to come to the party?" And she was like, "No, I want to stay here and study or whatever." I was like, "All right, are you okay with me going to the party?" "Yeah, I'm fine." But she wanted me to make the decision to stay at the house with her because she drove up from San Diego and all this stuff. But I asked you, and that you came up here knowing that we no time out because
we don't know what magic ability you think we got.
Yes,
like
to know your brain is telling you, don't let me go. But I'm going to the party, guys.
Time out. Because you knew beforehand. You knew before you even drove up here what the situation was. You knew we had to go to the party. You knew we were going to promote. You know the whole schedule.
And you knew you could have said don't come. You could have said don't come. I'm busy.
No.
Or had the conversation.
No, because I'm gonna come back. Like what?
Come back.
What are you talking about? I'm coming back home. Like,
hold on, I'll get back.
Like I'm.
You coming back, girl?
At the end of the day, I'm coming back to you.
What accommodations are you making?
The whole house is yours, girl. Going into your thing. I'm just back though.
That's out with you. Y'all niggas too calm. Fuck all that. Fuck all that. Like he just said, she's coming up from San Diego. He gave her he asked her. She said no. He said I'm still going. I'll be back. But right, once we sit there, we ask y'all because we say, what we gonna do? I don't know what you want to do, and y'all don't do nothing but go to fucking sleep. Hey, that's a fact. No, we could have.
Y'all is the most amazing
with
thing
us.
in the world.
We the pillow. We the pillow. What? But what are we getting? No, this ass. See, hold on. But when you start dealing with a man that's not superficial, he needed internally. Then what? But when you start dealing with a man that's not superficial, he needed more internally. Then what? You just said put that ass. I know that was a joke. I know that was a joke. The fun that I was just about to go to with handling business, let's create it together. Not just sit in the house. But at the same time, but if you expected me not to go here, what was your plan of action?
Yeah, so this goes back. This goes back to the point I was trying to make. Hold on, time out. This is the point I was trying to make. I asked you a question and you did not give me the answer that you wanted me to respond to. All I'm asking for is tell me what you want. At the end of the day, I'm going to do what you want. But no. It's not about choosing. Because I don't. But my thing is, hold on. Time out. What's common sense to one person is not the same common sense to another person. That's the only thing. So I ask, our brains work two totally different ways. I don't want you to expect me to think the way you think, right? I ask you, so if we're learning each other, I ask you to tell me what you want, and I will work at doing what you want.
Listen, hold on, wait. But how can y'all say that? How can y'all say that y'all can't read minds, but y'all want us to read minds? Like y'all be wanting. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand. I'm saying.
Okay, can I go ahead? Let me start some shit. Let me start some shit. Why, as a woman, right? We young, we dating, we doing our thing. You asking me, do I want you to stay? And there's somebody else that's not asking me because he's staying.
What do you mean? Well, that's because he's not in a relationship.
But I'm just saying, that's if you think about women are used to men saying like, I'm here, right? I'm trying to get what I'm trying to get. But then when you're in a relationship, now you got to ask all these questions. You were so sure when you was trying to get in my pants. Where's your certainty now? Where's the certainty now? But we just asking you to keep it consistent because that's what got you to. That's what entices the emotion of what happened because you kind of switching up.
All I'm saying is vocalize what you want. All I'm saying, you can't vocalize what you want. Mila, you can't vocalize.
Oh, you know I do.
Yeah.
All right, the reset. Everybody clap it up.
Yeah. Because y'all gave some great, amazing opinions. I want y'all to keep that same script. Y'all almost got me out of pocket. I had to say if somebody else come over there, that his baby mama did. Come on, when I leave somebody got come scream. I got comfortable. The Mississippi coming out. You just gotta filter it out, okay? Scrent, Tuesday, all them words. I can't even say 7. Yes. Okay, listen.
Few extra letters.
Oh, Jesus. Woo, my Lord. Okay, that's good. Okay, now this is a fatherhood question. Matter of fact, the next couple of 3 are more fatherhood, more than relational, okay? So the first question in the fatherhood section is, how has your relationship or lack of one with your father shaped the way you love or show up for others? Yeah. And I'm gonna pick out some two from this side, and I'll give my example first. First this question: raise your hand if you grew up with your father or stepfather in your house. Okay.
Can a halfway?
Yeah, we got some hands. Okay, hands down. Now raise your hand if you did not grow up with a father in your household. Okay, so me and you go first. Okay, because we got the full perspective of not having one. Now, mine is short, quick, and easy. And I think a lot of people don't know this, and this kind of spins into the accountability too. I really love the Good Dad Tribe. And I told Keith something that he was like, him growing up with a father and a stepfather, he never thought about this. My ideas, being a father, I got 2 and 1 on the way, is literally based off TV. And when you did not grow up with a father, nobody knows that. Nobody knows that where y'all saw the reality. I only know Uncle Phil, Carl Winslow. So there are things I do wrong as a dad because I never seen what the background of that looked like. I only ever seen highlights. So I know, let's go play soccer. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. I completely do not know the conversations that I'm supposed to have. Unless I saw Uncle Phil have it with Will, unless I saw Carl have it with his son. Like when you didn't grow up with a father, your number one thing you do wrong is a TV version of the image. So even if you are in your kid's life, there's things that are literally missing. Now, that's not to say that you don't learn them or you don't be accountable for them, but that's a great conversation to have with the people who are holding you accountable. You get what I'm saying? Because they have to know what you telling me to do, I don't even know exists. You get what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm the greatest dad in the world. You like, yeah, you all right. You know what I'm saying? And which is where like the grace come in at, because you got to think this man as a dad, he don't know. You get what I'm saying? Now I want you to go because you also grew up without a dad. So I want you to get that same perspective. How has it affected your relationships, not having a father?
Okay, so let me just start off by saying my daddy's in my life now. Shout out to my daddy. And I love my daddy. So in case, exactly, so in case he see this, I just want to preference that my daddy is present now, just in case he sees it. Shout out to my daddy. But I didn't grow up with a father. Me and my dad didn't have a relationship until, after high school. And in all honesty, my dad is and was an alcoholic. And so his vices kept him from being present. But I will say that it was hard, right? Because I never got the appropriate love from a man that I should have gotten when I was younger. And that shaped my image of like what I thought love was, or what type of things I needed to feel loved. You know what I'm saying? Like all those things, it shaped, my vision. And so when I was younger, I would try to become, I thought it was a me thing. I thought like, he has another son. He was present for his son. I thought it was a me thing. Like maybe it's because I'm a girl. He can't show up for me. So let me try to do all the things that like I see or hear them doing. So I would try to go out and like, I learned how to change oil. Like I learned how to do tire, just man stuff that I thought play football. I joined the flag football team. So I'm like, surely he'll show up if he see me out there killing it. Never showed up. Right. Or like, surely. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, surely if I do this, he'll be like, that's my girl and he'll come. He never came. Right. So as I got older, I started to fill that void, and overcompensate in my relationship with men, because I thought if I do all these things, you're surely gonna like me and you're surely gonna love me, and then that void will be filled that I've been missing. Wrong. completely wrong, right? Completely wrong. So it wasn't until I found out, the true definition of the value and the true definition of what a father is to a daughter that I actually started to say, hey, I'm not moving right. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, like I can't let this thing slide. Like, I would let things slide in my relationship just for the sake of saying that I have a man by my side because I didn't have a father. So I would look to them to fill that void. And it's like, that's not your dad. That's not, you know what I'm saying? Like, that is not even your significant other for keeping it a buck. You know what I'm saying? I was young, reckless, and wild. But, I think it leaves a void. You know what I'm saying? It leaves a void that can't be necessarily fulfilled until you actually sit down and you have that conversation with your dad. I had to sit down with my dad and say, hey, look, like, what is it? Like, talk to me. And then that's when I started to, because one thing my mom did was she never insulted my father in front of me. She never said that my father was a bad man. She never said that, he doesn't like me. He doesn't love me. She would always just say, baby, your daddy is struggling right now. And when he's better, like he's sick. That's what she would say. Like he's sick. And when he's better, he'll be here for you. Okay. Now, those days never came. But as I got older, I realized protection. She was protecting him. She didn't want to paint an image in my head that I could not get rid of. And she wanted me to find out who he was for myself based off of my interactions with him and not based off of her perception or her feelings towards him. So she was like, I never want to put what I feel on you because although he's doing this to me, I want you to form your own opinion. So that allowed me the opportunity to sit down with him and say, okay, hey, dad, look, like, I don't know what love is. I don't know how a man is supposed to treat me. I don't know what's right. I don't know what's wrong. And I need you and you need to figure it out so you can figure it out for my sake. You know what I'm saying? And so he did, he figured it out to the best of his ability. God bless him. But those wounds healed. You know what I'm saying? And I started to value myself more. I started to think of myself more than what I had perceived it to be. You know what I'm saying? And I started to realize that, like, that void is only a void God and my dad can fill, and no other man can fill that void. And it's not that man's responsibility to fill that void. You know what I'm saying? It's that man's responsibility to be the man that he is to me, not be my father. Not be my daddy issue fixer up, or like that's not his goal. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it was a long time coming, but we're here and we're healing and we're healed. He did. My dad has stepped up, and he's done a lot for me since then to try to make up for all the lost time. Did it fix everything? No, because that little girl in me still hurts for that. It still hurts for that father. Yeah.
Did you have to get over your level of aggression from being raised by a single parent? And an example of that is I had to learn to stop lying to men because I didn't feel like telling them the truth because I can't let you be better than me because I didn't grow up with brothers or a dad. So I grew up with a mom, 2 older sisters. I'm the alpha male. And when you are in a society, a mix of this is when you grow up in the hood, they tell you want to go get out in 1 of 3 ways. You finna have to sell dope, you finna have to play ball, or you finna have to rap. And you don't have a man to influence you to go the other places that you may know, Bob, Carl's dad is a doctor, but you ain't talked to Carl's dad. Once again, you feel like he Uncle Phil that you seen on TV. Playing ball and growing up like that, I was so competitive with men. I remember when I got to a point in my life that I realized one of the things I didn't have as a dad, and I realized women have this too. You're aggressive with other people in certain ways, and you don't do well with details. You literally have to teach yourself details. Because women are great with details, but until I saw other men operate in details, I didn't do it. So like if Keith tried to open up to me and tell me what he's going through, I don't ask questions to get him to get the in-depth of it because I don't know what to say to him if I'm not competing with him. So I don't know.
That's true because he would look at me sometimes. I'll start talking to him about stuff. He'll look like, okay.
And that's when I start explaining to him, like, it's not that I don't have anything to say back. What you're saying to me is my first time as a 35-year-old man having this conversation with another man. I ain't never had that conversation.
Well, I think for men and women, it's a little different. Like I never had a aggression towards the situation, honestly, until one of my exes brought it to my attention that I may or may not have daddy issues. Uh, that was up for debate. But it was that moment to where I became like angry because I'm like, what you mean? Like, no, like my mom did, a hell of a job raising me. She's a single mother. You know what I'm saying? Like I never wanted, I grew up in the hood, y'all. Like in the hood, like I never wanted for anything. Like when I tell you, like had a car at 16, my mom sent me to the preppiest of the preppiest schools because she did not want me in like going to school in the hood. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like literally had everything you can think of. So from my growing up, I never missed a beat. So it wasn't until I got with someone who was mature enough to be like, yo, B, like you have some codependency issues. What you mean I'm codependent? You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's when I started to realize that, oh, like I probably should go to therapy. I probably should talk this through because now I'm in a relationship and you're expressing that I have daddy issues and you're telling me why, and I'm looking at you like, nah, like you just not him. But it's like, nah, like you yeah, exactly. But it's just like, nah, like you have real life issues. So I really had to sit down with myself and say, okay, my codependency is coming from what? It's coming from the lack of having a father presence. So now I'm clinging on to you because you're the best thing that I have, like to a father. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm looking at you for everything, and you're like, ma'am, I'm just a man. Like, I'm just a boy. Like, I'm just your boyfriend. Like, I can't heal those wounds. You know what I'm saying? So then I had to stop and I had to take a step back and say, hey, look, like, it's really me. It's not you. So, like, I need to take a step back. I need to figure out why I'm moving the way that I'm moving. Like, I need to figure out why the pain is the way that it is, And then that's when I started to say, okay, let's sit down and let's talk to dad. Let's sit down and, like, is he better enough to have this conversation? Like, let's sit down and figure it out because the wounds and the pains and the lack of fatherhood was now seeping through my own relationship. And I was looking at a mirror of me that I didn't like. You know what I'm saying? I didn't like that person. I didn't like being codependent. I didn't like relying on somebody for my every beck and call. Like, nobody wants to do that, So.
So my dad was present in my life and active. My parents are still married. They've been married for almost 40 years. But so I want to give a different take, but a similar experience. So just because your parent is present or because you have a dad doesn't always mean that they're going to be very present. So my perspective is coming from that lens. And it took a while for me to try to understand, like people would be like, well, how could you have a daddy issue if you've had a dad in your life the whole time? And the thing is it took me a while to figure out why was my dad not as present. And so to your point, everything you said you did, like you want to know about cars, you want to drive, you want to play sports, I did. And so for the same reason with an active father in the home. So I was trying to figure out how can I get his attention or like what would make him want to be present, to be around. And so I've had conversations with my dad about this now. And it took for me to kind of look at my dad's relationship with my grandfather. And my dad is born in the 60s. So my grandfather was just a provider. Just simple as that. He's a provider. He did not really, my grandmother was the one who signed my dad up for all his sports. My grandmother was the one who took my dad to all of his activities. My grandfather was in the home. He just went to work and came home and did that rinse and repeat. So my dad, obviously 10 times better than his dad, but still for me, there was a lack and a void of like, why are you not active? So when I see this generation of men, this generation of dads who actually change their daughters' diapers, who actually feed their daughters, like my dad wouldn't take us around without my mom when we were little. Like, what do you mean put the car seat in my car? There was only one car seat in my mom's car. Like, my dad didn't drive us around. If he wanted to drive us around, he would take the Camry, my mom's car. And he did not drive us around. He didn't, I remember the first time my dad did my hair, I was 7, and it was because it was a death in the family. And my mom had to go on to a funeral. So, this modern father, is a lot different. But I just want to give a take of like, just because, we may have had fathers in the home doesn't mean you can't have some daddy issues and some lack there, because he was there but not as present as I would have liked.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I grew up with a dysfunctional family. My mother and father, recovering drug addicts. My Dad was in the house, but he wasn't as present. He was very abusive to my mom, and I looked just like my mom. So he was also like verbally abusive to me and sometimes physically, like just like try to scare me like I'm a little girl. So it's just like if he raises his fist, I'm like flinching. So that plays into like the dynamics that I had with my relationships with men. My dad didn't protect me. Nigga, you can't protect me either. I didn't desire marriage. I didn't desire kids because of my dad. For real. So I was people like, oh, you so sweet. People when I'm trying to get it out, y'all, because I can get very emotional when it comes to this. And I told you this. This is why I didn't want to join. Y'all might have to edit. But a lot of my relationships with men, it started out good, but then it ended poorly because it was like this struggle, this power dynamic. You can't tell me what to do. You're not my daddy. Even if somebody tried to come in and show me and teach me something, my daddy didn't do it. Who the fuck are you to do it? You know, so it was just like a crazy thing. Like, whew, I'm trying to get it together because I'm trying not to cry. Trying not to cry. So I was researching some stuff like earlier this week before I got here about the father figure impact. And we fail to realize sometimes how powerful having a father or the lack thereof, how it just influences our relationships with people. And as a woman, I was very insecure at one point in my life. And I would overcompensate because I wanted to be accepted because my daddy didn't accept me. And I found myself I had to forgive because I couldn't fault him for what he didn't know and what he didn't have. He had to raise his siblings. It was 7 of them. His dad disappeared on him. I never met my granddaddy before. He got up and left. And my daddy had to step up to the plate, dropped out of high school, worked at a factory, and raised his siblings. And I'm like, damn, you didn't know. But it took for me to mature, you know, and just take a step back and just reflect on everything. Like, Daddy, you did the best you could. And I remember just sitting on the bathroom floor crying my eyes out. I called him. I said, Daddy, you hurt me. And I can't be the woman that I want to be because of you. And I blamed him, but then I also had to take accountability because I'm going to be all right. I just needed to forgive you. And I forgive you and I love you. You know what I mean? So
I ain't gonna hold you. I'm going through that right now.
yeah. Because it'll fuck you up.
Yeah.
But you gotta forgive because it's only so much that they can do because they only had limited resources and stuff too. And my dad right now, he's in a nursing home. And he calls me, he asks me for stuff all the time. And I want to be so bitter. How dare you call me, ask me for anything? Nigga, I couldn't call you. But he's been calling me for the last few days and I ain't answer. Because I'm still kind of mad. Because how is it you want me to be something for you that you couldn't be for me? Yeah. That shit hurt. And then now I'm in a relationship and this man loves me down. But I have to sit up here and ask this man every single day, do you love me? Do you care for me? And ask for that reassurance. And it's like, damn, why do I have to do that to you? You don't deserve that. My daddy issues, which I'm still getting through and I'm healing through and I'm going to be all right.
Yeah. But make sure you know that that's okay too.
Hold on. So look.
Absolutely.
We got Mila.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I knew it was going to happen.
No, you're great. So my perspective, and some of this is gonna be edited out. I've already talked to Markeith about it. So I was raised by a single father because my mom was on drugs, but that man who raised me is not my bio dad. And so, though I understood young, like I knew he wasn't my dad, but like, of course you're a kid, you're in the zone, right? I could see the effort. Like he was going to college, so I would go to college with him. working in his job and all of the things. But he was an interesting character. When I was really young, I was taught to have an opinion, to speak up for myself. And he spoiled me. Everything I wanted, I had. But then I became a teenager and I became more like my mama. And him and my mama had not been together since she was pregnant. And so the language began to change and it became more of, well, you left a fork in the sink, so I'm not buying no school clothes. Well, nigga, I don't know who you think I am, but I'm gonna have me some brand new whatever I want. And so it quickly shifted from being a daddy's girl to figuring out how to still sustain the lifestyle I had been exposed to without him. And that created a space of, I never want to need a man. I never want you to feel like what you provide is good enough because, nigga, if you got it, I got it too. We all right. I'm good with or without you. Whatever you give me, good. That's extra on top of whatever I'm doing. And so I didn't know how to. I would usually find guys or be with guys that didn't have as much as I had. You got just enough to give me some money so I could do what I want to do, but you ain't got enough to where you making an impact. Like, you here, cool. If you're not, cool. Meeting Bryce definitely shifted a lot of that because he would be like, no, let me do for you. Like, he wasn't coming at me with the same energy of just let me do what I want, say what I want, run how I want. It was like, yo, I'm here. I want to do this. And I think it still shows up now in our relationship where I have to force myself to be okay with needing him. And sometimes it's in the smallest ways of like, I need you to break down this box. I don't need you to break down this box. But I need to find a way to need you because I get frustrated and I resort to that. Like having my dad, and now in hindsight, it's 2020 because some of the things he taught me as a young lady allowed me to be able to navigate. And so there's some things that women have experienced that I haven't because I'm a dog. Like, nigga, I'm gonna bite you before you bite me. Like, I've seen it firsthand and I didn't want to ever be hurt like that. I didn't ever want to be handled in that capacity. But also understanding, like, nigga, you was dealing with your own trauma. You was trying to figure out, like, you a single man raising somebody else's kid, trying to give them the best. And I didn't miss out on nothing. Like, regardless of all of the nonsense, like, if it was Jordans, I had them. If it was a phone, I had it. I played fucking golf. Like, I didn't understand how much of a privilege that was until I was an adult. And I'm like, y'all niggas don't play golf? You know, like, he literally was doing the best that he can. Like, I feel like he wanted a son. So I did basketball. I did golf. I begged to do dance. He was like, hell no. I could only do dance at church. So, okay, cool. I'm going to church. But it was very interesting watching this man try to parent me while putting women in my life to help mold me into a young woman, watching him try to navigate being an example while still really trying to figure out how to be a parent. It was really wild. Like, I feel like I did a lot of it. I've been grown for a long time. And I feel like in ways where he was trying to just make sure I was going to be okay regardless, I had to grow up. Like, I've been doing a grocery list since I was in the 5th grade. Like, and that nigga would be like, oh, it's Sunday. You ain't got no lunch. Well, why I ain't got no lunch? Because you ain't make no list. You ain't say, let's go to the store. When did that become my responsibility? And now, as an adult, as a wife, the grocery list can make me crash out. What? You didn't tell me to put that on the list? What's going on? Like, it's really crazy, but like, shout out to him because he really resets my nervous system and reminds me that, like, it's cool. Like, it's cool to need me. It's cool that you can stand on your own, but like, I'm here. You don't have to do this by yourself. And like, even now, I get to shout out to my kid because me having a son allowed me and my dad to reestablish a healthy relationship. it opened up the door for him. Ooh, Jesus Christ. It opened the door for him to be able to apologize and to express to me that he literally was doing the best that he can. I left California in 2010, and my dad is coming to spend Thanksgiving with us for the very first time. He's never come to visit me out of state. And it's just so interesting and overwhelming because he's asked me a number of times, like, how do you feel? And I'm like, shit, this is a flex. This nigga ain't never gave me a house this big. But in reality, I am extremely... No, I told you he raised the dog. But in reality, I am very, very grateful because if he had not raised me with the grit that he raised me with, like, I wouldn't be able to be this woman for my husband. I wouldn't be able to be this woman for my sons. I would have not been able to just overcome my circumstances. Like, my dad went to school. My mama didn't graduate high school. My sisters was some 90s hot girls. Like, I didn't have all the best examples and access. And having the mama that I had and the sisters that I had, all I seen was how to run through niggas. And so I have this man that's like, nah, you're not going to do that. No, these are your rules. And while I felt like a lot of that was, I mean, I manipulated and wiggled through it. A lot of that definitely set the tone for me to be able to see shit and say, that's not for me.
Okay, y'all, so we're going to listen. Give it up for my man. All right, so it ain't over, but it's almost time to give the days they house back. Now we got a media stop at 9, so I'm gonna tell y'all how we finna take this picture. Don't nobody move yet. No, don't nobody move. Don't even take no deep breaths, because I'm gonna tell y'all where we gonna go to take our picture. But before we do, I want Keith, being the leader of the Good Dad Tribe, to give us some closing thoughts. And if I had to ask you a question, Keith, I would say, knowing the vision that you have for the Good Dad Tribe, what did tonight feel like for you? You get what I'm saying? And you being the type of visionary. And I got to shout you out, brother, because you are the type of visionary that you do this for us. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. You've had 2 dads in your life. You have your own struggle. You're a great dad to your kid, great husband to your wife. And I know each of us, like, you inspire us. And it's really good today for you to know that. Like, you did this thing, boss. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? And you was able to put me personally in a circle that, you know, like I told you, even up until the summer when we met, I ain't had this. All I had was work. Yeah. I had work. We talking about something. He was like, you want to come out for the bros? Of course. I ain't got no other ones. I had to go back to Mississippi. So real quick, what would be that to you, being that this was your vision? How does it feel to see that vision come to life?
I feel like this is just the beginning. I feel like, I don't know, I'm just trying to be a good steward of what God gave me. What's the best way to put this? I'm just glad everybody showed up and actually participated. There was a few people who did not make it. I wish they was here. But no, I just want to thank each and every one of you for coming out and making this possible. I think this is going to take us, like, what we're building is going to be big. I don't think y'all really realize what this is going to grow into. So, with that being said, y'all about to get me emotional.
I can hear it in your voice, back of your throat.
But nah, for real. I think this is going to grow into something big. I wanted people to experience what God gave me to provide for other men. But now the woman in aspect of it too. So I just thank everybody for showing up. I mean, I don't really have much other words to say besides thank you for everybody who chimed in, helped, all that good stuff. So yeah, that's about it.
Amazing.
I'm not the most expressive man, but I wanted to be, but I didn't know how to be. Just like everybody has a story. My daddy was in the house, but just like she was saying, it was a covering. Daddy, he's still at work. Shoot, my daddy came home from work. Shit, he was 90 pounds lighter. Like, what damn job he got? Until we got a little older, we started to try to build a support system for my daddy, and we was sitting in NA meetings to show love and support. I never knew how to give that. I never knew how to do any of that. Being expressive, bro, just like a couple of years ago, and I'm 38 now. I just started telling my partners I love them. That shit used to be like, boy, what the hell you tripping? But then I understood, like when I gave that response, my partner that cut my hair, oh, he gonna be real 100 with me. You wrong. That's how we talk to each other. So I appreciate you for being an outlet for me to speak, for me to be stronger than her, because I'm the youngest of my family and the only one married out of all my siblings. And I still gotta figure it out. We done had our bumps in the road, but I come back and I try to talk to her, express, give her understanding, because it's stuff she lacks from the way she was brought up. So we just trying to make it work. But I love my baby, and I'm thankful she came today. Because I be having to take this back home and just she be having to figure it out. And she be like, eh. Say she was in here about to go to the Battle of the Sexes. I'm like, nah, this is my safe space. Don't come here fucking it up. Shit.